Today on the Roach Koach Podcast.
You may know him as the guitar player in iBurn. It's Dave Fogarty.
Yeah. It's like, it was a really unusual kind of reverse way of doing an album, like doing the album first and then putting your band together.
I recently had a C4 that made me think I was going to have a stroke, which was an interesting experience.
Roach Koach
Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Roach Koach Podcast, the journey to create the Nu-Metal Canon. My name is Lorin Kozlowski. With me, as always, the original Roach Rider, Mr. Matt Nas.
Keep it rolling, baby.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, back with you for another very special episode of Roach Koach, creating this Nu-Metal Canon one album at a time. This week, we're doing it all again. We have all these albums across the years, across the stratosphere, and we talk about riffs, and we talk about pit activation, and we talk about all these things, like what was it like making it? And we've got another one where we're like, you know what? Let's go straight to the source. What was it like to make this record? And you may know him from the comments section. You may know him as the guitar player in iBurn. It's Dave Fogarty.
Yeah. This.
Oh, yeah.
How's it going?
Dave, thank you for coming on the show. A couple years ago, you mailed out to us a bunch of copies of your album, iBurn, by iBurn. And I put this thing on, and I was like, oh, we got some rippers in them hills. And you graciously said you would like to come on and break down the record with us. And so that is what we are doing today. We are talking about your band's debut album, iBurn by iBurn. So to start off, normally, we'd say like when the album came out and everything. I would say, Dave, walk us through the journey of Nu-Metal fan to Nu-Metal creator.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm from a small town in the south of Ireland called Clonmel. It's in Tipperary. South Central Tipperary, and I was a woman of silence reference if you didn't get that one. But like I listened to everything at the beginning, just hard rock, grunge, everything, and at the time the term nu metal wasn't out, so I was listening to bands like Korn and Deftones, and they were considered alternative metal. So when I was listening to it all together, I didn't really see a difference in it until bands like Papa Roach and all that came out, and would have been early 2000s. I would have been starting my first bands, and all the other guys, like, we didn't have the luxury of being in picking a subgenre, so we were just happy there were enough of us to be in a band, So we were just like, hey, check this out, check that out, giving me Sepultura, I'm giving them some of my French nu metal bands, which I found completely by accident, and eventually up until 2005, I found this French band called Sick on MySpace. And like, do you remember in MySpace when you go onto a page and the song just plays straight away and just blows the face off you?
Yeah.
Sick did that with their song, and it was just, oh my God. I was like, holy shit. So I got in contact with them straight away, and we were just exchanging messages the whole time. And I said, you have to come over to Ireland to play. And they said, look, just fly us over. We'll sleep on your couch. No problem. And we did. We brought them over, and the singer Charles, he said he was a producer as well. He has his own studio. So he said, like, come to France and, we'll make a good album for you. Because at the time in Ireland, the recording for metal just wasn't good. It just, you couldn't get a sound that was like your favorite bands. It just wasn't happening. So we said, he cut us a good deal. We went over to France, and the band I was in at the time was called Thoughts of Ruin. And we were really heavy now. We were like somewhere between Strapping Young Lad and Chimera. So that was completely like not what you expect. But one of the songs on the album was called God Complex. And the chorus was just this big nu metal riff chorus. And Charles sang on it. And that was the first time I heard, like, okay, this style of singing over my riffs. And like, it flicked the light bulb. Holy shit, that's really cool. So that band's album came out the following year. And then it was really like, myself and one of the guys, we just had a huge argument. I ended up leaving. So instead of like doing the mature thing of like, dude, we should talk. Like, no, I'm going to start my own fucking band. So it was kind of, it was like, iBurn is kind of like a spite band, so to speak. So I just rang Charles again. I said, look, book me in for 2 weeks in August. I don't have a single riff or a band. Just book me in for these 2 weeks. And this would have been April 2008. And the album recording was August. So I had that much time to like write all these songs and put a lineup together. And it was essentially just myself and the singer, Matt. He was in a band called 23 and they were awesome. They were really heavy. And they were the first band to call me when I left Thoughts of Ruin. And then they were like, oh yeah, Matt's after leaving. So I just called him and I said, look, I have 2 weeks in France. Let's just write something and go over there. And pretty much that's how it was. It's like, it was a really unusual kind of reverse way of doing an album, like doing the album first and then putting your band together. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you had sent me sort of a little mini doc of the making of, which appears to be boys being boys in the south of France, having the
Pretty
time of
much.
their life. And you're out there by the pool, and then you're like, let's go in and make some riffs, which, sometimes that's the way to make a record. And, I mean, part of me was like, is this, when I was watching, I'm like, is this the Indigo Ranch of Europe? Like, is that what I'm looking
Of southern
at?
France?
Of southern France?
Not that
Um,
studio, but the other studio we used for the previous band, Thoughts Room, we used a studio called Cox in Hell. And that was pretty much like, it reminded me of Indigo Ranch big time. COX,
Oh,
by
wow.
the way.
Nice. Okay.
Which is the French for Ladybird.
Perfect.
There you go.
Let's talk about iBurn here. The record. When did the record like actually get released?
We self-released that, I want to say late 2009, 2010. It just took ages to get it done. And like when we were doing the album, it was, we didn't have a drummer. So Charles was like, program the drums. We'll have a guy play drums when it's all finished. This guy, his name was Guillaume Dupree. He played for a band called S. And we just couldn't believe the results we were getting from him. And then like when we did the album, we were coming back, we're like, this is awesome. We're so going to get signed. This is going to be fucking great. And then complete global financial collapse happens.
As it does.
That was pesky recessions. So like that happened. And like we sent it to so many labels and like, a lot of the big ones, they did get back. I mean, Nuclear Blast, for instance, they got back and they said, look, we're just going to look after the band we have now because of the way things are. And like in between when we recorded the album, when it came out, things had changed so much, like especially in Ireland, recession and everything. So kind of, we didn't have a chance to really, do what we needed to with it. I think that's where it went wrong.
I know you guys have done 2 records. Is iBurn still an active concern? Are you guys on a hiatus? What's the story?
No, I haven't actually spoken to any of the guys in a long time. But if Matt was to email and say, send me some music and I'll sing on it, that's cool. We'll put it up on Spotify and whatever, I'm up for that at least.
Okay. So let's talk about, so on this record, it lists iBurn as Matt on Vox, you, Dave, on guitar, Chuck on guitar, Richie bass and Vox, and Clint on drums.
Yeah, Clint was the drummer we got when we came home. It was like,
Okay.
here you go, album's already done, just learn it.
There you go.
Um,
And let's talk about the design here. This appears to be, is this metal shavings creating the logo of iBurn on the cover? Is that what we're looking at here?
No, it's burnt matches.
Burnt matches. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I really like how they do the side of it, the way it looks like the side of a matchbox.
I see. Oh, yeah, look at that. I had not looked at the side. That is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then actually, if I look at the
You
back,
failed, Lorin.
listen,
You failed.
maybe I just got
Not only have you bogarted every copy this album, you didn't even look at the side.
A lot of people don't
I'm
think of that.
I'm sorry. I didn't look at the side. I've been too busy looking at the
You know I'm a spine
not-
guy. I'm a big spine guy.
You love spines. You love
I
spines.
love a spine. I love a
When-
good spine.
Matt loves a spine. When Bane broke Batman's back, Matt
Oh,
was the
it's like
first person
all
who texted
in.
me.
You okay?
He was like,
You okay?
He was like, "Have you heard?" And I was like, "Who is this?" It's 1993.
Yeah, the spine guy.
The spine guy from the future. We'll be friends. So in the liner notes, we have some of the lyrics. We have pictures of the band. We have you thoughtfully strumming.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who did you help design this? What was the thought process for designing overall liner
There was a
notes?
guy from Limerick City called Ian Walsh, and for some reason he didn't put his name in the credits, even though we told him to. Yeah, he did a really good job. I was really impressed with it. It's just there was a bit of a mess about the printers, and I think there was a duplicate page there at the end. But yeah, other than that, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, everybody looks good. You've got everybody represented in the photos. Yeah, you do get the ripple effect liner lyrics twice, but that's okay. In your thank yous, pretty nice. You do shout out
Wholesome.
yeah, well, Matt does a shout out at the end to Tequila Beer, all the sexy women in Monaco for making it the best place in the world.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Um,
I have to
and
imagine. I have never been to Monaco, but if I ever get there, I'm gonna have to just. You can't blend in. I don't think. I think it's just very beautiful people.
Oh wait, yeah, we were done like a day early, so we had like a day before our flights home, so we just went to Monaco. And we met Bono there.
whoa, he was just
Yeah.
hanging out in Monaco.
Yeah, with his kids. He lives there, I think.
Oh,
He did back then anyway. I think, yeah, he was nice to us because maybe he thought we were like rich or something because we were in Monaco, not just a couple of lads from the south of Ireland.
okay. But he recognized the fact that you were Irish, and so he was
Oh, yeah.
like,
Well,
my
like we
people.
called him over.
Oh.
And
Oh,
Matt, because Matt's from Dublin, he has that big thick accent, so he's like, "Hey, Bono," and you can just see him go, "Oh no, I've been spotted."
One of my own found me.
but
God.
he came over and he like chatted with you guys for like 5 minutes or something.
Oh yeah, him and his kids. Yeah, he was pretty cool. I'll give him
Wow,
that.
That's good.
But then
Well,
he
that's
kind of he destroyed all that goodwill later on by putting an album on my phone.
True.
It's
true.
Terrible.
It's true.
Why
It's
can't
true.
I remove this
He
thing?
could not delete it for years. My God.
Mm-mm. It's it's his sin that he will have to bear. I was listening to a podcast recently where somebody, it was a younger person, and they said, why are we still doing this U2 thing? They got to go. Like, we're done. Stop trying to make U2 like an existing thing. And I remember the host seemed a little bit like, we can't tell them stop. Like we can't tell them to go away. Like they're still an active band. And the young person seemed like, no, there's something needs to be done. I want them gone. And I was like, clearly people, like, I was obviously annoyed when this happened, but clearly there is a younger comportment of people that are resentful and angry at you too that I was not aware of.
It reminds me. I saw a tweet recently enough. It was like the most unrealistic part of Taken was a teenager following U2 around Europe in 2008.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's very true.
I was just listening to a show, and it's Pat McAfee. He covers the NFL, and he and his team are at the Super Bowl this week, the week that we're recording. And U2 has a residence at the Sphere in Las Vegas, and he bought a suite for his whole team, which he was very brazen and was like, it cost $60,000.
Oh God!
And then he was like, we all left early. And the panel goes, I'm a deep U2 fan from like their start. So he's like, Boy, War, Rattle and Hum, love it. Know tons of songs from U2 and know some of the modern U2 songs. He's like, they played 20 songs in a row that none of us knew.
Oh no!
Like none of us knew any of these songs. And he's like, what are they doing?
Hold on. I'm looking up, I'm pulling up, I'm going on to setlist.fm, my favorite website. I am going to just pull up a current U2 set list because now I'm curious because that's surprising to me. I would think that these boys would hit us with the stuff that we know. Okay, let's see. Well, it looks to me like they're playing all of Octung Baby. which last I checked is a pretty popular U2 album. I would say it's considered one of their classics. I mean, they close with like a run. Well, this is fun. Their encore is Elevation, Atomic City, Vertigo, Where the Streets Have No Name, With or Without You, and Beautiful Day. Listen,
I know
no one
most of
wants-
those.
no one wants Atomic City. Get that out of there. And honestly, let's leave Vertigo in the past. You know, let's just get that out of here.
Is that the one where he counts and then says 14?
You bet.
That's
Grammy album of the year 2005. I don't know.
Of course it was. Of
God.
course.
I every time I learn that information, I go, man,
Wild. The Grammys are not about music.
the Grammys looking at 2004 in music and going, you know what album really set the
Yeah.
tone for this year? U2's How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. That's what everybody on the streets was talking about, baby.
Certainly. Okay. They're truly, like, I just pulled it up. All right. 2004. Funeral, Arcade Fire. Mad Villainy, Mad Villain.
Well,
College
Funeral-
Dropout.
Okay, College Dropout. Funeral wouldn't have qualified because it came out after. Because remember, they're September to September. So I'm pretty
Okay.
sure Funeral wouldn't have qualified.
All right. Hot Fuss comes out in 2004.
Well, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to say that they should have given it to the Killers.
I understand. I
You
understand, but give it to the Killers. Mr. Brightside is on that album. So
It
that's
It is. You're right, Matt. You're right. And I do like Hot Fuzz, but at the same time, it feels like one of those overcorrections, you know? Like
well,
I'm
the
gonna-
big overcorrection would have been they give it to American Idiot.
Oh.
Wait,
It feels more
What's
accurate though.
American Idiot truly does feel like a Grammy winner. It probably it did
Yeah.
win a Grammy, right?
I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm
it
sure.
had to. It had.
It had to. This is listen.
It's the perfect amount of shitty. Like it is absolutely.
is.
It's Grammy shitty. Like it's yeah.
right there. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. 2004. What a year. What a
You know, I
year.
heard that that
but-
Laufey record.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's like the Icelandic songstress that's basically doing Blossom Dearie. And so I listened to the record and I was like instantly like, this is winning a Grammy. You'll never guess what happened.
What happened?
It won a Grammy.
Yeah, what?
Oh my God, shock.
Big shock. It was like when you heard
Wow.
that Nora Jones record, you're like, well, man, this is it. It was kind of like, oh yeah, this is total Grammy fodder.
The Grammys going Grammy. They love a certain type of sound. That sound, generally MOR. And that's how it's gonna go, you know? And then if you're a metal band to get nominated, they will look at your list and they'll look and they'll go, who's the oldest guy here?
Right. Yeah.
Who's the
They
oldest?
absolutely look at that list and they go, okay, who's like actually in the culture and impacting it right now?
Are
Not
you
that.
sure it's that much thought? I don't think so. I think I've heard of Metallica. Give them the award.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
That was that.
It's so
Yeah.
weird because like at this point, it should have switched to Slipknot. It should have
Are you-
just been like,
Hand it
Because-
over.
it's not like Slipknot is a new band. Like they've been an ongoing concern for 25 years. Like,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
so it is not like they're brand new. The torch should be passed, but yeah, it's absolutely like, nope, still Metallica. Like, okay,
Yeah, the Slipknot gets it in the off years when Metallica doesn't put a record out. And if they happen to put one out at the same time that Slipknot does, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, looking through what was nominated for like best metal performance, you know, it was a real like slim pickings. And people were like, "Oh, it should have gone to Spirit Box." I'm like, I guess. I didn't think like the Spirit Box song was actually like changing my life either. But
They played that song at work last week. Jaded, and it was really, really loud. And
Oh.
everyone was like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Yes."
the Spirit Box, they
Piece
were
off the
Grammy
normies.
nominated.
I was
They
saying
didn't win
that,
though.
but they were nominated.
And you know what? Here's the other thing. everybody from Spirit Box went to the Grammys. Do you
100%.
know? Do you know who from Metallica went to the Grammys?
Rob. Yeah.
Just Rob. They were like, send the bassist.
He's still enthusiastic about it. I'm going to the Grammys.
He is. He is. Listen. Yeah, send the guy who's excited about it. Lars, he's not going to be excited about it. You know.
James
the rest
is
of
like, I'm good.
He doesn't want it. But let's talk some more about iBurn. You said, yeah. The reason we're here today, the reason for the season,
Grammy nominated iBurn.
yes.
Cool,
Yeah. Produced, mixed, mastered. If I'm getting this name right, is this Callahan? Is that over?
Callaghan.
Callaghan.
Yeah.
All right. Goes by one name, just like you two here. Just like Mono, I should say.
He goes by Charles as well.
It looks like he was, he did all the arrangements, everything like that. Would you say he was in a way like the secret sixth member of iBurn?
Totally. When we were coming over, his rule was like never have songs that are more than 90% finished. And we're like, no problem there, dude. And but when we were there, he like, we put the song down and he'd be like, hang on, maybe this riff could be like the main riff instead of a breakdown riff, or maybe change this one out, and he got in there with the vocals as well, so it was really just putting it together as we were over there. I mean, again, you're doing it backwards. You're doing an album first and then you're putting your band together. And like, it is a weird way to approach it, but I think that's pretty common now, for bands to just put it in the studio together.
Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah, you'll definitely hear like, oh yeah, we brought this guy in after the fact, or I mean, I don't know how many albums we've done where there was a guy who was around for the recording, and then he was out, and then by the time that the album was being toured, it was Bill on bass. Didn't play on the album, but he's doing the bass for us now. Maybe he'll be on the next one. So did you guys get to tour this record?
Just around Ireland, really. That was about it. Back to Charles, though, he has since moved to America, and he's worked with bands like Falling in Reverse and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
Okay.
He is rocking with Yeah. Shout out Charles, you owe me big.
Okay. Yeah. This is what launched him. This is what launched him.
Yes. Well, it was his first time working with like a non-French band, basically.
Okay.
So, what better way to start than a bunch of drunkards? I mean, did you see the part in the video with all the bottles?
I did see all the bottles, and I said, this is how I know these were some young guys getting going, because they knew that they needed a long panning shot of alcohol bottles.
That was 2 days work, by the way.
2 days worth. Dave, are you a ghost? How? What?
No, we're just Irish.
Oh,
this terrible this stereotype of Irish people drinking and all that. Absolutely true. Yeah.
Okay. I guess that is the question then. Because I know right now for Matt and I, it's 10 a.m. Where you are, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. Are you pre-pub, post-pub? Is the pub part of your regular day-to-day?
Where I live now is in the middle of the countryside, so that's a non-thing right now. But I am planning on having a few at home later, so that's what I do.
Okay. All right.
I'm too old for that anyway. Yeah. You turn 40 and you're like, oh, no, home.
I feel you there. I mean,
YouTube rabbit holes. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Well, we've talked about that. We talked about the liner notes. Let's dive into these tracks. The first song is entitled "Have Myself Again."
Thanks for watching this episode of Roach Koach on YouTube. Unfortunately, we do not play the music here on YouTube because we want to avoid those sweet, sweet copyright strikes. But you can check out in the description. We have the links to the podcast itself, which includes all the clips from the music that we hear. And back to the show.
What a ripper. Holy shit.
Wow. I got to tell you, right off the bat, I wrote in my notes, this is new AF. We are chugging. We have heavy riffs, an extremely hot open, well placed on the album, kicking things off right away. I mean, I gave this, you'll be happy to know, I gave this a dinner listen, put this on with some dinner. and I was like, "Oh, if if I did not heat this up enough, these riffs will keep this dish warm." My lord. So very much enjoyed that. And then it was very interesting to hear the various influences in there because I got Fear Factory vibes, and then I got some Soulfly, and then I got a little bit of Alice in Chains in the chorus, which, Matt, how did you feel about that mild? It was like the mildest of Chainsing, I guess.
Yeah, this is strange because now I'm having in 1 year 2 Chainsings of which I'm like, totally works. I'm completely fine with it.
Wow, there it is.
But the thing is we didn't stick on it too long, and I'm so in, like, I don't know, the song rips. When it gets to the chorus, it's like it is a great backup to give you the second before it goes in, but it's almost like the first chorus is a pre-chorus to get to the second chorus, and I'm like, good songcraft. Like, it's just like I like that stuff, and as an audience member, I would be like, it's just ratcheting. It's just like, okay, we've got the beginning that's just like, here's the assault, or back up. Oh, you thought we were going to go back in? No, we're going somewhere else, and then we're going to go back in. I'm like, I like that a lot. I was thinking, Lorin, that you were going to say, I was eating dinner, and if I didn't need my table to eat on, it would have been flipped over.
Yeah.
Because this is
Dropping.
great table flipping music.
Matt, I can tell you that there was a concern that I was going to need to go to IKEA to get a new table because I thought I was going to have to throw my body through it because of these
Is it
riffs
the Dudley
and
boys
drops.
have to yell, grab the table?
Get the tables, get the
Table.
tables. Because I'm about to go through a couple for this one. Why not just jump off the top of my couch onto my table? Why not? The riff's there. I wrote down the most nu metal lyric I wrote down was the waste, the hate, the hurt, the pain, the fears that bring me down. If that ain't nu metal, baby, that ain't nu metal. Was there an overarching lyrical theme with this? How involved were you with the lyrics, or was your vocalist more involved with the lyrics?
I wasn't really involved. I just, Matt went off and did his own thing. But mostly what he sings about, you'll see, is just his own personal experiences. What he sees around him and stuff like that. So I think the song, I don't know, he's not here to say otherwise. It's just him moving on from, previous experience or even his previous band, since this is a new project for him. So that would have been it. Like,
yeah, the lyric, have myself this way, leaving nothing, have myself this way so I can choose right. That definitely sounds like a clean slate situation. Sadly, no songmeanings.com comment. So which I will say, why are there no comments on this song? That's mine.
Yeah.
Why are there not more comments?
Make
on
sure
this
we
song?
add that on there. Like, this song is great. This band is great. Where are the song comments?
I'm going to create a bunch of bot accounts and I'm going to fill it right up for you.
There it is.
Release them.
Yes.
So strong start, hot start.
iBurn 6969 says.
Matt,
69, 420.
Yes, exactly. iBurn 69.
Very cool.
Perfect. Well, let's dive into the next one. It's called The Ripple Effect. We're running through a lot of different sounds here. I wrote that we are both screaming and singing. We're doing it both here, Matt. And yet still ripping. I enjoyed this one very much. You boys are just finding the right influences here. And then also I like, and I don't know if this is intentional, and this might be a here's Pantera once, but when he says the ripple, I mean, the first thought is it's like Phil Anselmo in Pantera.
Oh yeah, he used to do that the whole time. I mean, when we were doing shows, he'd be like, "Oh yeah," he used to do that the whole time and everything.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, Mini Matt Anselmo. Yeah,
I love it. So yeah, I very much enjoyed this one. A little more smoothed out than the first one, but we still got those riffs, and we were all doing the bounce hands. We're bouncing.
Yeah.
You're bouncing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Matt, how'd you feel about the ripple effect?
I liked it. The chorus to me, where he's like, I don't know if I need it higher or lower. Because the way that it hits my ears, I'm like, I'm not sure. But when we get into the verses, I'm locked in. When we got the riffs, I'm definitely locked in. So I don't know, just something about the chorus that I needed either a little bit more or a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I have no solution. I just have where it hit my ears.
Yeah.
Matt, sometimes you just have needs, but you don't know how to explain them. You know?
Right.
And that's just how it is. I enjoyed this lyric, leaving hell, I can't help but smile. I like this lyric because, yeah, you're leaving hell.
Yes, it's always what you generally do.
Generally, you're gonna be smiling. And the way he says it is sort of like, I get it. You know, I guess yeah. If you're leaving hell, a place that generally once you're there you cannot leave, and you're getting to leave there, yeah, I guess you're gonna be smiling a little bit. Yeah, you know, see somebody like, what's with this smile on your face? Just leave hell.
Did you hear? I am leaving hell.
I'm
Or
leaving
at the-
hell.
At the very least, you're doing Keanu Reeves at the end of Constantine, like, you know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I might be back, but I'm out right now.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yes. You know, I love Keanu Reeves, and I even thought that he was sleepwalking through Constantine. That's just something I felt I needed to say.
Whoa.
Whoa. Hot take.
That
I'm
take
just
is
saying.
hot.
It's hotter than hell.
I'm just saying, guys.
Where
I'm just
I
saying.
am. Dude.
Yeah. So, can you tell me, like, when you were crafting a set list, you know, where were you placing, like, Have Myself Again and the Ripple Effect? Are these openers, closers, mid-song?
Usually Have Myself Again, depending on what other bands we were with. Yeah, would be the bouncy one. Other than that, it'd be later on. Ripple Effects, I could never find the perfect place in the set for it. Maybe second last, and then we usually drag out the middle, you know, so everyone's bouncing and stuff like that. But it's funny because iBurn, like, the Irish scene, we were not liked over here at all, because it's real. Yeah, it's a real, like, well, by Irish bands mostly. It's mostly a doom, death, thrash metal scene. So in 2008, a new metal band rolls up. It's like, so sometimes if we were playing with rock bands, we'd be the heaviest band on it, and if we were playing with metal bands, we'd usually be the lighter one. So it was a tough thing to balance. But all the great new metal bands have that same struggle, I think.
Yeah, that can be the problem sometimes. You get slotted in, and this audience is like, yeah, we're just here for the doom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then you're not. It's going to be tough to win them over. Because as we have learned, metal fans, they have opinions. They
What?
stick to them. They stick
know.
to them to their grave. Yeah, to their grave.
And you will be judged upon them.
Yes. Yeah. The most interesting thing I've found about new metal bands, though, is that not new metal bands. I'm sorry. The thing I found about metal fans is that they do have this sort of deference to classical music sounds, which I often call Christmas music sounds. They will oftentimes be very impressed by that, and it will baffle me. You know, we haven't talked about them too much on the show, but there's a band called Sleep Token that is really kind of taken over the world. Matt, have you had a chance to dip into some Sleep Token?
No.
Okay, Matt. Well,
I'm
if you ever
a
do-
huge fan of those guys.
Okay, so Dave's a big fan of Sleep Token. Now, Dave, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I saw them last summer at Grassball Festival. They were awesome.
Lorin, you just
He so didn't want to hear what I had to say, so he just
yeah, you literally glitched out the moment. I was like, let me hear about Sleep Token.
Listen, anytime they come up, I disassociate, and it goes to my technology.
He's doing it again.
You disassociated so hard it made your computer talk.
That's right. Okay, so Dave, you saw them live last year.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, they were great.
Okay, because I think the thing for me listening to them is that I'm waiting for them to get to the fireworks factory. There's a lot of prelude, a lot of build up, and it sometimes feels like the main guy, whose name is Vessel. Is that right?
Yes.
I was hoping it was Jerry Sleep Token.
Oh, Jerry Sleep Token? No, that's
Gary
the other
Sleep
guy.
Token.
Bobby Sleep Token, and the drummer.
You know, like
who's
the
just-
Ramones, everybody's named something Sleep Token.
I love that idea. That they should do that. It just seems like it's a real, like, wait to get to the fireworks factory with some of these choruses, and and like you're just they have this like long build up, and it seems like Vessel like really loves to like he wants to like sing and like be like very operatic in a way, and I'm like I'm here for some riffs. You know, when I hear that you're a metal band and then I roll in and they're like, listen, there's a 3-minute intro, lots of strings, and I'm just like, can we just get to it? If we just get to it. And maybe that's my my impatience.
I was the very same with that. And then they released that song, The Summoning, and I was like, holy shit. And the last album was amazing. Like I listened to start to finish when I was cutting the grass, you know, right on lawnmower. And by the time I was done, I was like, okay, I'm in. I get it now. Yeah.
Okay. You Christ Scout challenged it. See, you took it through different scenarios. You put it on the riding lawnmower. I don't have a lawn currently. Matt, is your lawn a situation where you could ride in lawnmower, or are you strictly push?
Oh, I am. If I had to go back, I would go to push.
So when we were writing the song, Matt said he specifically wanted a real bouncy, like positive kind of song. But I was like, oh, sure, I'll just do that right now. And that was pretty much what came to mind with putting that together. And like I was listening to a lot of Stain that week too, so the chorus is a bit of a lift.
Oh, okay, I can hear that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like guitar wise, anyway. It's it. Yeah, it reminds me of Stained, and I was listening to a lot of Playmo as well. You know how much of a fan of Playmo I am.
Yeah.
So that found its way in there too.
Okay, I mean that makes sense. I mean, when you're, I guess when you're recording with these type of things, I always kind of wonder, you know, if you're, actively listening to other bands, other music, or you don't want too much to influence. But it sounds like with this one, you were like, let me dive into some of my faves. Let me just hear, and see how they sort of rub off on me. So, and listen, if you're listening to Mooshock Cook, then that's the way to go. You know,
gotta let Mooshock cook.
You gotta let Mooshock cook. Anything else about the ripple effect you wanted to tell us?
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay,
just a positive nu-metal catchy song, that we thought would be. It'll be a cool single, and it kind of shows. We want for an album, if we were going to send it to labels, we wanted to show here's our range in a little amount of songs. So I think we covered a lot, really.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Well, next up we have the song "Breakaway," featuring Charles Callahan. I can't believe you brought it down, man. What?
Dude, you can't play the whole song. I was already a minute 40 into it.
I know, I'm sorry.
Chuggy start and stop these riffings. I wrote slam and chug. You can do that in the pit. You can do that with a tall pint. Either way, you can get it done to the song Breakaway. We're 3 in. That's 3 for 3 rippers, Matt. 3 for 3 rippers.
Yes. This one, the chainsing a little bit more pronounced. Don't hate it. Don't hate it. Just saying, we're almost at my chainsing minutes.
I love it, Matt. You have this chainsing threshold.
I do, and over time,
like pushing you. You're trying to build up your chainsing immunity, but it's still there's a limit.
I'm getting inoculated. What's happening is you're backing that chainsing up like with the gutter, the visceral, and then we bring it in just for a line, and then we pull it back, and I'm like, wait a minute, am I going to get full chain? No, I'm not. Well, good. This is how it's done.
That's right. This is how it's done. The lyric I wrote down: not standing still anymore, not waiting on nothing. That's right. Break away. Get out of there. Once again, this is Nu-Metal AF. Dave, talk us through Breakaway. Talk us through. You're sitting there. You're like, I got some of the hottest riffs you ever heard. Let me just lay these down real quick and see what the boys can do.
Yeah, I was listening to a lot of Seven Dust that week. If you can hear that.
I can hear that.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's one of those songs that the demo arrangement is way different to what ended up there. A lot of changing around. And like it's pretty much the verses remained the same and a lot of the breakdown stuff. But the chorus, I wasn't sure how that was going to come out. And then Cal and Matt went in together and came out with this thing. And I was like, holy shit. Just this kind of performance. And I was not used to having that on my music, and it just blew me away and I heard it.
Is that happening a lot? Like, I guess when you're in there and you're collaborating like that, have you found that that's an interesting experience for you as an artist, where you have this idea in your head of how these things probably would sound, and then they come back with this? Do you feel, or I mean, it sounds to me like this was pretty productive, but I mean, have there been times where they come back and they're like, "This is what we did to your riff," and you're like, "Would you do to my beautiful babe? What have you done? What have you?"
Not so much on this album, but all over the next one. Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no! My
I've stopped
boy,
with
my boy, my beautiful boy.
my riffs. Yeah.
My riff-
Never.
my riffs. Well,
Well-
I guess. Go ahead.
For this album, like every change that came in, it was like, oh shit, never thought about it, and it was a really like pure collaboration between the three of us mostly, and it just sounded, just some things only happen when you're in there and the red button is pressed and it comes to you. You could be working on a riff all week and it's like, oh, this could be better, and then literally 5 seconds before recording, it just hits you. I'm not really a spiritual person, but I'm pretty sure that there's a thing for that. Yeah.
The riff ghosts. The riff
Riff
ghosts. They
ghosts.
come to you and they
I've
say
been possessed.
they possess you, and they're like,
Mm.
do a little doodle d,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's all it takes. Beautiful. Yeah, we are rocking. We are rolling through this record, and yeah, let's just keep it going. The next track is called "Found a New Way."
Dude, not going in without a drummer and then getting somebody who lays that, you had to be like,
Yeah. I had no
Oh.
idea he was going to put blast beats in that moment. We just had a standard din din din. So when we heard it, we're like, oh no, poor Clint.
But Clint was up to the task, though. You said
nailed
right?
he nailed all of it.
Wow.
He did it with a smile on his face for some weird reason.
The man loves a blast beat.
Clint
He's
is the
full
man.
of full of excitement. You love a guy who loves a blast beat, and he can do it with a smile.
Yeah.
That's-
Mostly
Great.
Polish people do that too.
so folk.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
played with a load of Polish musicians, and when they get to the blast beat, they look bored doing it. And I see other people just struggling. Like,
Wow. And Clint's like,
Clint's like, struggle is life.
yeah. He's a
I
funny
love
guy.
it. Yeah, this one, this is, I always talk about that there's a song where if you're seeing a band and you're, in line for the bathroom, in line for concessions, and it comes on, you gotta either lose your place or you gotta run with them beers and get back. For
Yeah,
this,
you're wetting yourself in the pit.
you're wetting yourself in the pit somehow, some way, either with the beers or you're pissed that you've been holding. Either way, you can't miss this song. And this is the one. If Found a New Way comes on and you're like, I'm going to get another pint. I'm going to get another. Nope. Forget it, bro. You either leaving it or you're wearing it, but you got to get to the pit. You got to.
Yeah.
This is a real hot one. Very much enjoyed this. Going to my notes, I wrote, we got a hardcore chug. We've got great screaming. Then you have a moody crunch in the last minute. And I wrote that this song, a journey I was happy to go on. And then, because it's a nu metal record, Matt, the lyric, my eyes are open for the first time in my life.
It's almost like I was waking up, sheeple.
People.
I love this song. I love what happens is because I'm like, wait, is this iBurn's full hardcore song? And then you shift gears and it's like, no, this is a fucking nu metal song. This is a big nu metal song. Because when he's doing that, he's not rapping, but it's like he's delivering in that staccato type of like delivery of just like, here's the line and I'm saying it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, that's new AF. That is
Yeah.
as it gets. Loved it.
Great.
The song gets heavier from there too.
That I do not doubt.
It's probably one of the
I
heaviest
like-
songs I've ever written. Like,
I love that we heard as much as we heard, and you're like, it actually gets heavier after.
there's a part just before the outro, which is pure grind, and it's just, yeah, I love playing it.
There you are. There you go. Yeah. So we're just trucking along. Riffs for days. pits activated, beer being worn. It's what you want. It's what you want.
If you're lackadaisically holding a cup during this song, that fucker's getting popped out. Like, oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's gone. It's gone. Yeah. Listen. Whoever's running the venue, I hope you got mops. All right. That's all I say. I hope you got mops.
you better have a broom closet, and there better be some mops in there.
There'll be some mops with some buckets, and you might need to spring for a little overtime for the staff because it's gonna be a damp sticky floor.
Most
around
of the venues in Ireland, the floors are sticky anyway.
Okay, fair enough. So that's a feature, not a bug. It's like if you walk in and it's not a sticky floor, you're like, is this a
new?
reputable establishment?
Does have bands played here? If you
Got to break this floor in. You start dumping drinks on it before the show starts.
between songs, all you hear is people walking around.
I love it. All right. Up next, this is quite a title. Rotting My Body's Strength.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'm just going to point out on those verses, I'm going to say it. Is this motherfucker spitting?
This motherfucker's spitting.
He's
Not be
spitting.
spitting.
He might be spitting. He
Not
just
be
might
spitting.
He might be. I really, one thing that was very impressive to me about this album, Dave, was that it was not the same 8 songs. Every song you were like, it really felt like you were like starting from scratch. We're going to do something different here. We're going to riff up something different. And as you said, when you're writing the one song, you were listening to Last Seven Dust, writing another song, listening to Last Stain. It's just like every day you were just like something new. You were not letting yourself rest on your laurels of one type of rip. And I appreciate that. Because we've done a lot of albums on this show. And sometimes people get into something, some call it a rut, other people call it being lazy, other people just call it the formula. And you were like, listen, I want to do it all. Where iBurn, we're doing it all. Real quick, the name iBurn, where's that from?
I wish I could say something cool like that Cure song from the Crow soundtrack, but I don't honestly know. I think it was on an energy drink.
Listen, sometimes you see something on an energy drink, it inspires you. You are drinking a Monster right now. People who follow me on Instagram know that I'm currently in my energy drink era. And I can tell you that some energy drinks are not created. Energy drinks are not created equal. They're all kinds. I recently had a C4 that made me think I was going to have a stroke, which was an interesting experience. Don't recommend that. Don't like that. Yeah. And I did confirm, I talked to someone else who had a C4 and they were like, yeah, it did that shit to me too. So C4,
Oh my God.
maybe take it off the market. Might be sad.
Maybe
little
stop
too
bribing the
strong?
FDA.
Matt made my appendages tingle in a way that made me concerned for my health. And it was only after talking to some other people, they were like, oh yeah, that's classic C4. And I was like, what? Okay.
It's like, hey, Lorin, it's named after an explosive.
Right. It's exploding the cells in your body right now. You signed up for this, bro. Yeah. So I can't remember who. It was someone, it was a friend of the show, but I can't remember who it was offhand that messaged me and were like, you don't fuck with the C4? And I was like, no, not today, not ever again. Like, and they were like, oh, that's my everyday. And I was like,
That's your everyday?
I was like, rest in peace early. Like,
Oh my God.
yeah. So I don't know. They're built different. I might, everyone's body.
Everyone's body is different.
Everyone's body is different. Let's talk about that. And we're talking about rotting my body's strength. Can you tell us a little bit lyrically where our guy was coming from with this one?
Matt, he was writing about his experiences, and that song in particular, I think, was about a really shitty experience him and his friend had with some cocaine use and watching his friend overdose, and that's some real shit right there,
That is very much some real shit. Yeah,
Like,
I'm over here being like, C4 made me feel bad. And Matt's like, really?
It's okay.
Have you ever had bad cocaine in a band?
Yeah. That was the first time I ever had a singer in a band that was singing about those kind of experiences, because we're from the south of Ireland. We don't see anything like that. So Matt, being from Dublin, had all of these city experience, so to speak. So it was interesting to hear that. Musically, well, I think I was listening to a lot of like Watcha and Switched that week. I really like that Switch song, Walk Away. It started off with a guitar part and then a nice drums underneath, and then boom. And that's kind of where I was going for with that one.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Matt, anything else to add about Rotting My Body String?
No, I think I like it. I like it. I like
There you go.
it.
He likes it.
What a rascal. I like it.
Yeah.
You dog.
Oh.
All right. Up next, we've got the song Loser. Oh my Lord. So this one, I got big Slipknot vibes up top, big Iowa vibes up top. And, there is a line on Iowa where he talks about slitting your throat and fucking the wounds. And I thought, are there going to be any lyrics on this song that will, if not equal that, at least evoke that same sentiment of extreme violence? And the answer, Dave, you know this already, and Matt, you're about to find out, is yes.
It's a resounding yes.
The lyrics I wrote down will tear off your head and shit down your throat. I would say, arguably,
Message
worse.
received.
Message received. I'll pluck out both your eyes. And then the lyric that I truly loved, there's a revolution happening. It's called Fuck You, Jay.
We were
Amazing.
foreshadowing Slipknot's drummer as well.
Maybe. This one is this one, clearly we're talking about some kind of, obviously loser, abuser of some kind, and getting incredibly visceral, incredibly literal. I can tell you that I may have giggled with glee when I heard the shit tear off your head and shit down. So far, I was like, yeah, now we're talking, baby. This album ain't over.
Yeah.
When Matt comes to you with a lyric like that, do you just go, "That's your truth, man. Let's fucking do it"? I wrote the
Pretty
lyrics.
much. Yeah. You didn't get to that part in the video, but I was in the boat with him when he was doing that song. There was a part where he's being raw fucking hell. I'm like right there with the camera and he's in my face doing it. Like, oh God, I picked the wrong song to do this.
Or the right song.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So it's weird. It's the song. It's about an actual person that he knows, and he names him in the song, which is it's kind of
Wow.
funny.
Receipts,
we know-
motherfucker.
Do we know? Did this person hear the song?
I have no idea. Sorry. I wish I, could have found that out. He must have. I mean, it has to.
I'm
have
gonna say
gotten back.
yes. Let's just say
I'm gonna say yes, and and maybe they listen to the coach now, so they're hearing it again.
I thought this was over.
I just wanted to listen to a nice podcast with Dave and an album that I know I was personally attacked on. Maybe they won't bring it up. Wrong, bro. Bringing it up. Let me tell you, this was quite something. Really enjoyed this. Matt, how you feel about Loser?
Oh, so due to clever editing, you'll miss the part where I played this earlier in the episode. But this is the second time hearing Loser, and I fucking love it. I just like I like the riff. I like how it starts. I like what's going on. I like the lyrical content. You ripping people's heads off, shitting down their throats. All right, let's go. It is most certainly aggressive.
Most certainly. Absolutely. Dave, you had something else to add about Loser?
No, well, let me see. Musically, it was kind of like me and Matt's previous bands. It's kind of, we were those are the kind of songs that we were writing in our previous band. So of course, a little bit of that made its way onto it. And we used to finish with that when we played shows, and it was awesome. Because that outro.
Yeah, I gotta tell you,
after that one,
yeah, that's definitely you're kind of like, can we top the rip off the head, shit down the throat songs? Like,
I mean, you can't open with that song.
No. That sets a different type of precedence too. Yeah. Perfect. We've got a couple left, Matt.
which makes
did you
me
have any-
ask,
Yes.
How Respectful of Our Time is this an EP, I guess? Or is it an album? What would you consider it, Dave?
We've had arguments about this for years. I'm just going to call it an album. But
Hell yeah.
yeah.
So How Respectful of Our Time is this album, Lorin?
29 minutes long.
Fuck yes. All right, cool. Good for everybody to know that you could be entering your third listen.
As you listen to this episode.
I do wish I wrote more songs for it, but it just came down to budget, basically. Cal in the studio, he charges by length of album as opposed to by day. So it could have been 10 tracks, but we could just afford the 8. Yeah.
No, but then you would have had to pay for 2 more songs, basically. Is that kind of length? Or he would have been like, oh, that's 4. That's an interesting way to do it. I'm like trying to figure out, like, because obviously the more songs you add, the longer the album gets, that's the more money for him. But if it's like,
I think creatively, I think it's the best way to do things, because if you lock down how many songs it's going to be and how much it's going to cost, then you can work around the time, and you're not frantically trying to get the stuff that, come on, we got $200 a day, we got to pay for the shit, get it done. You're not being rushed in the studio because there's cost saving involved. Whereas if you just, take as much time as it needs to get it done, there's less pressure on you then. So I think that's the best way.
all right.
Clearly, this is not how they do Cottonmouth Kings albums.
Nope. 420.
Tape roll.
Let it roll
While I roll a blunt.
We've got 28 songs here. Let's just go. Perfect. All right. Well, we got a couple left. Next up, we have Family Tradition. So this was the most interesting and really this song took me by surprise more than any other lyrically, because it seems to be about a journey of basically a broken home leading to this young man becoming like a violent delinquent, stealing cars, and ultimately, taking a gun somewhere that ultimately leads to him dying. I felt that this was probably something more like incredibly personal. When I first listened to it and I was noticing the lyrics, I was like, is this song anti-divorce? And then I was like, no, I probably go in. It's probably much more local than that, Lorin. It's probably not saying like, everybody needs to stay together for the kids, okay? But this one definitely much more vivid, and definitely feels more like Matt was basically saying, like, this is a true story. And maybe just for dumb old me, he could have started with like, this is a true story, giving it the Britney Spears Lucky start. This is based on
a
a
story of a girl named Lucky.
And when she got a gun. This one felt much more visceral in that way, just lyrically, than I think some of the other stuff, which you could still kind of get as like a party one. This one, not so much a party one. We're getting some lessons here. We're getting a story. Things are getting dark, very dark here. But I enjoyed it. Dave.
Yeah, that was the first song that we tracked fully over there. Initially, Matt wanted to do it all singing. And you'll see it on the video. He was trying out things with Cal, and it wasn't working. So he came back later on. He's like, I'm just going to rap this whole thing. And Cal was like, you're rapping. He didn't expect there was going to be rap vocals on the album at all. So that brings this whole other set of problems. Like, is he going to sound good rapping? Is he going to sound corny or cheesy or whatever? So he came in with that, and it sounded awesome. Lyrically, it's about just where Matt's from in Dublin, just the things that he sees around him. And, real life shit that goes on up there. I suppose it goes on in most other inner city places and stuff like that. So that's kind of where he was drawing it from.
Okay. All right.
Oh, there it is.
And then we got this.
Yeah. Oh my God. You paid for the full service. Wow.
I did. Yes. Just doing rich guy shit over here. Unemployed and doing rich guy shit. So this is the Playboy Cavalier lifestyle of the multi-thousandaire. Here's where I was. I was like, oh, open for Papa Roach, play this song. Come on, this is like, this is it, baby. Like, I'm like, yes, come on. Felt it. I was like this, and it just thematically it worked for me. I was like, yeah, this is new AF. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, this is
Yeah.
right in the pocket. I appreciate you talking, Dave, about, what was going on in Ireland in around 2008, 2009, because it is, having a very Midwest United States view on things. We are, where I grew up, the suburbs of Metro Detroit. Like, when Nu-Metal hit here in the 90s, in the late 90s, it was just like everybody had big jeans, everybody had ball chains, like it just kind of was like this cultural phenomenon. And then by 2008, like, we mentioned it on the show multiple times, but like post really 2000, once you get to 2002, the wave has definitely subsided. And then everything really starts to fracture over here, especially when we're talking about metal. And we're talking about, like, this is the last genre that was like world beating on the radio. Like, there really is never another heavy band that cracks the way that any of the nu metal bands did. I don't think that's wrong to say, Lorin. I can't think of, like, in the States at least, a metal band that's really been like, and here's number one from,
Yeah.
It's very fractured out, and and honestly, I don't know what it would take to bring it back at this point, because it seems like that type of music has been pushed down to its own sort of niche audience, and it doesn't seem like, I mean, as somebody has pointed out, with the playlist era and basically people sort of wanting these sort of just like background music, like this sort of not quite fully, I don't know, it's like it's the Drake of it all. People want this sort of like I called it a air conditioner hum that sort of hangs out. That seems to be the
White
popular
noise.
production. The white noise, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody could sort of like say some things over the white noise, that'd be great, but it's not necessary, And when you're dealing with metal, and and I'm an expert, all right. When you're dealing with metal, it's going to be abrasive. You can't ignore it. If you can ignore it, then it's not metal. I'm just gonna say it right now.
yeah,
If you
it does demand your attention in a way that not a lot of other genres, especially now,
Mhm.
demand. Like, you put on a Drake mix, and it's gonna feel like, oh, okay. You put on a metal mix, people are gonna be like, to your point, when Sleep Token comes on, what the fuck is happening?
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's just the culture is constantly shifting. Maybe, who knows? Something could happen. Somebody could come through and be the undeniable, person that brings metal back to the top of the pop charts. But I don't know who it's gonna be. I don't think they may not even have been born yet. You know what? Maybe there's somebody listening to the show and they're hearing our words right now and they're becoming inspired. And
I
they're
hope
about
so.
they're about to send a group text saying, "Get the boys together. It's time to storm the charts with some riffs and some screams. We're gonna do it.
Exactly.
It's gonna be us." Yeah. And the only problem is that this group of boys and girls, they might be talented, but unfortunately their name is Butt Burger or something like that. And they'll just be like, and there's gonna be one gonna be like, "Well, what if we change our name? We've been Butt Burger." So
Well,
also
the
think about
songs
your
are
name.
like the songs are like 15 seconds long for the TikTok generation,
Right.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's a
Did
good
you-
idea.
Did you see that? There was I don't remember the artist offhand now, but it was like he was doing a show and all the kids in the audience were singing along to the 15 seconds of the song that they knew from TikTok. And then after that, quiet. Crazy.
That's tough.
Like,
It's tough.
usually if you hear a few seconds of a song that sound good, you search out the rest of the song,
Right.
Nope,
Not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Attention
Not
span.
anymore. No, they're like, I don't need the full song. The full.
Well,
Nothing.
like,
Nothing.
Deftones is really having a moment because, again, a resurgent moment. They never went anywhere, but it's like people are starting to use like Change in the House of Flies on TikTok, and they're using other Deftones songs on TikTok, and it's like, are they gonna go back and hear the rest of the album, or is it just like, I watched you change, and that's it? Like, that's all.
Yeah.
You
I
know
see
what though?
that.
But this has been a thing forever. We've just brought it down to like now it's down to like 15 seconds of a song because I remember, and I might have talked about this on the show before. I spent a summer working in the mall, worked at a store called Gags and Gifts, and I worked with this guy. And I'd be telling him like, "Oh, I've been listening to this album and this album," and he would say to me, he goes, "Hey, I heard that single. Hey, I heard the single from that album." And I go, oh, "Okay, have you listened to the album?" And he went, "No, I'm good with just the single." Drove me crazy. I'm like, "You like the single? You don't want to hear the whole album?" "I'm just good with the single, Lorin. I don't need the whole album." I'm like, "What?" It made
How
my
many-
head off my body.
How many albums do you have in your collection? Because the single's great, and if you listen to the rest of the album, and it's to the
Well,
back of
sure.
the stack of you.
I see that, but then I'm thinking like when this was going on, this was peak Napster era, peak like people like so it was very clear this guy was listening to an MP3. It wasn't like he was, worried about his budget. He just decided I'm going to seek out the one. He'd heard the one single. He downloaded the MP3, had no interest in stealing the other MP3s. He didn't even want to make the effort to steal.
That's lazy in a new level, man.
You know what? And honestly, as I'm thinking about this, I think there were other things that were annoying about this guy. So this was just like, just another thing. Another
Put
thing.
it on the
We'll-
pile,
iBurn get back together, write a song just about it.
please.
Oh, yeah.
Have Matt aim his pen directly at this.
That's right. Pull his legs off. Did feed him to death with them. Something like that.
Make
Perfect
him drink
transition.
C4.
Oh, you say.
Oh,
No,
you be that tingle.
you be that tingle, baby. Yeah, perfect transition to the last song of the album, Lost Time. So, gonna need to get them lighters out.
You better get those
Right.
letters. This is a real
Gotta get those.
deal, y'all.
This is the real motherfucking deal right here. Oh yeah, get them
It is.
out. I mean, Dave, I know you said this was kind of also kind of showing the range of the band. You guys are showing like you guys can slow it down a little bit, get a little acoustic, but it still has some meat on them bones. This still feels like a sturdy track. My first listen, I remember thinking like maybe they're gonna drop into like a rock out, but they don't. But it's still at the same time, you could if you wanted to. Yeah, and this is a very apt closer. Also, as I've said in the show, I enjoy when a band does an acoustic closer and they also decide to record it in the same studio that they recorded the rest of the album, as opposed to some people who decide let's record our acoustic song in a shitty unmiked room. Could we do that real quick? And I appreciate you actually taking the time to make sure that this song also sounds good. Yeah, I enjoyed this one. Perfect little closer there. I'm assuming, was this more your thought of like, I want to show the range, show what iBurn can do?
Yeah, Matt said, he just asked if we could have an acoustic song on the album. Lyrically, it's about these last few moments with his dad. So he wanted the right kind of song to sing about that over. And that's pretty much where that came from. So it is the real fucking deal. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Which is good for him to do that.
Yeah, I mean, which is what I mean. That's I think what also makes it a more resonant song is having that true story, true personal connection underneath, which I think is honestly a connecting thread through this album. We're calling out real guys, talking about real experiences, real things that are seen, which is sold in the vocals. You know what I mean? These vocals. I feel like maybe we haven't talked about it. I mean, the vocals are strong across this album. This guy, let's just say it, rapping, screaming, singing, yelling, chainsing. He can do it all.
He sure can.
He can do it all. Matt, how'd you feel about Lost Time?
I was like, perfect out, slow boy. But like, we've had a good journey. So we've been on the ride. Need to slow down a little bit. Once again, my cup was changed, but it wasn't overfilled. It doesn't run over, but it was like, oh, there it is. I know that sound. Hello, old friend. But it's one of those things where the subject matter pulls you back in. I found it to be exactly what you needed at the end to take you out.
There you go.
There we go.
There we go. And that's the album. It's iBurn by iBurn. And now we're at the part of the show where we talk about
Canon Talk.
Talk about the Canon.
There it is. Yes.
I always wanted to do that.
There we go. Dave, you're our guest. We'll start with you. Thoughts overall on this album and thoughts on it going into or in relation to the Nu-Metal Canon.
Oh. I don't see. I'm in the same position Blake was a few weeks ago. So,
Yeah.
would I put my own band forward? It's funny. We didn't really, like, as weird as it sounds, we didn't set out to make a straight up nu-metal album when we came over there. But as soon as we recorded Family Tradition, it was like, oh, here we go. Let's just go all in with it. And yeah, I'm proud of the fact that it is a nu-metal album, and I won't change any of that. And it still sounds great. I'm still really proud of it. And like, I've had people, good friends of mine say that it's one of the last good nu-metal albums they've heard, so that's also cool. So yeah, I don't know, I would put it in, but that's just me, because it has everything a grown boy needs for nu-metal. Yeah.
That's very true. It does have everything you need. Matt, I'll go to you.
I was hoping you would come to me first, actually. Here's where I am on it. Number one, great fucking job. This thing rips, and 8 tracks is, I want more. So to have that feeling at the end of the album is a great place. The amount of new in this album is perfect. It's 2008, which is like I keep coming back to that because I'm like, nobody's doing this in 2008, and they're not doing it this well if they were. That makes me go, it needs to go in, because this is a fucking lost classic. Like, what are we doing here? This thing needs to go in, because this thing rips. It is representative of style. It is a come down record that punches way up. So yeah, done. I'm in. That's my vote.
Matt is in. I thought this record was definitely very solid. We're always rocking. We're going in different directions every track. And the production is very strong. The riffs rip. And initially I was kind of like, maybe just like a couple songs, but you fall into that trap where it's like, well, if I put in the ripple effect, then why not also have Myself Again? Well, also Breakaway. But then I'm like,
and then I'm gonna be like, you got to put Loser in, because
you got to put Loser in. You got to. He rips, tear off your head and shit down your throat. And so at that point, I'm like, I guess put the
you
whole
have
thing.
5 out of 8 tracks in. Yeah,
Why not? Yeah, and at this point, yeah. And so I was like, you know what? This is what the Canon needs: 8 tracks, 7 rippers, shitting down a throat, 29 minutes. You gonna disagree with that? You gonna disagree with that?
Hell no.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. You're not going to
you're not.
disagree with that.
You disagree with that? We're gonna shit down your throat.
Sorry, every time you say it, it's so funny.
So there it is. iBurn in the Nu-Metal Canon. It's what it's all about.
Nicely done, Dave.
Nicely
You have made
done.
my weekend.
You're welcome. Listen, if you're gonna listen, when people send us stuff, they send us songs, and it's always like the hope was like, I hope this person sent us a ripper. And I remember when you sent us this, Matt and also Jenny were like, well, how is it? Like, what's the story? And I'm like, well, I'll let you know. And I put this thing on, and it's like, it's Ripper City. It's Ripper City. They got a song called the Ripple Effect. Might as well be called the Ripper Effect, because that's what this album's got. So, well done, Dave, and all the boys of iBurn. You're in the Nu-Metal Canon. And Dave, what are you working on now? What can people find you online? What's going on?
You can find me on my Instagram, on my YouTube, and everything. Musically, like, for metal and stuff like that, I'm just putting songs up on my YouTube and stuff. But I'm also playing for a band called Mindright. It's kind of alternative hard rock, like the bands I listened to when I grew up, kind of like Helmet, Silverchair, kind of stuff. So that's the kind of stuff I'm doing at the moment. But I do dabble in metal, and if anyone wants to collab, they can. I can send them riffs and stuff.
Love
There
it.
you go.
Love it.
There you go.
Still have some copies of iBurn's album, so if anyone wants to get in contact for a few copies, please do. Send them your way.
All right, perfect. Yeah, definitely add this one to your collection. I mean, it's in the Nu-Metal Canon. Get it on that shelf, baby. Absolutely. And that does bring us to the end of another episode of Roach Koach. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Keep on saying hello to us online: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We're on all those. Patreon.com/Roach Koach Podcast. The pact is ongoing. Become a member of the Patreon and learn all about the pact. And and also send us an email, roachcoachpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, Matt, thank you.
Lorin, thank you.
Thanks, lads.
All right. Bye.
Roach Koach
Podcast.
Hot all day, every day. It's the Roach Koach
Podcast.
all day, all day.